Hello everyone, Ember here, and welcome back to a new video. And in this one, I'd like to showcase a rogue deck that I've been working on for post-rotation. So basically, this is Dragapult Typhlosion. In its simplest form, it's a merger of the two combos. It is more so a Typhlosion deck than a Dragapult deck, but you know, Dragapult is of course here as an excellent attacker. Hopefully, I don't really need to spend too long explaining why Dragapult is a very good card to you. You know, like no weakness, 320 HP, it's a Terra type as well. Has a very good attack in the form of Phantom Dive for its Psychic and Fire. You can do 200 damage and put 6 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon in any way you like, which is very annoying to deal with. And, you know, they are printing furious amounts of counters to try and get Dragapult out of the meta, it would seem, because Dragapult is a huge part of the post-rotation format. But I did want to play some Dragapult, and I thought, you know what, I best play it with a really fun attacker, basically, and not just, you know, Dusknoir and stuff, which you know, Dusknoir can be fun, but at the same time, I feel like it's what a lot of people will be covering. So I thought, you know what, we'll do a post-rotation Dragapult video, but we'll do it with something a little bit more, you know, unique, I guess. So I wanted to do Ethan's Typhlosion, which, even though I really like Ethan's Typhlosion as like a budget deck, I do think it's a little bit too slow for this format. Like, it feels slightly too slow. I might try again with it, like in a couple of days or something, but right now I'm just struggling a little bit to make Ethan's Typhlosion work on its own. Just again, because it does feel a little bit too slow in this format, but maybe with some additional tweaking to the list, it can be better. But yeah, Ethan's Typhlosion, 170 HP, stage 2 Pokemon. For 1 Pharange, Buddy Blast does 40 damage, and then 60 more damage for each Ethan's Adventure card in your discard pile. So you're capped at 280 damage, assuming you can discard all 4 Ethans, which is pretty easy to do because we do have Quilava to actually find your Ethan's Adventure, and then we also have Drakloak as another stage 1 draw engine. To essentially look at the top 2 cards of our deck, we get to choose one of them, and then the other card goes on the bottom of the deck. So hopefully we don't see that card for a while, basically. So that's kind of it. Like, we're just trying to find Ethans, discard them early on, use Buddy Blast, do a ton of damage as a single prize attacker. And then we also have another efficient attacker in the form of Dragapult to do 200 damage or 6 damage counter spread to like soften up a Mega or something. So that's kind of the combo. The only other Pokemon in this deck that's not part of his evolution lines, and yeah, we're playing a lot of Pokemon, 22, but the only other Pokemon is a lone copy of Victini, which has the ability Victory Cheer, which says attacks used by your evolution fire Pokemon do 10 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, which is, you know, it's fantastic. It does mean Typhlosion now does 290, which is, you know, doesn't sound like a lot, but at the same time, our Typhlosion with a Brave Bangle can do 310. So plus a Victini, it actually takes us up to 320, so we can actually KO a Dragapult if we wanted to. So we can KO Dragapult in the mirror, which is funny. So like, yeah, Victini, I don't think is like super important to this deck. Like, you could probably remove it and swap it out for like a Budew or maybe like another trainer card or something. But yeah, no, I thought it was fun inclusion. You know, Victini's nice. It's a nice little addition to the deck. But as for trainers, it's pretty self-explanatory. Like, we are just going full consistency across the board, really. Like, we're not playing Dawn because, like, we just have Ethans. Like, Ethans is our Dawn, essentially. It won't find us our Dragapult stuff, but it will still find the Pharange to attack with Dragapult if we need to. But yeah, Ethan's Adventure is still a good supporter in its own right. It's just a shame that every Typhlosion deck has to play a lot of Quilava and a lot of Ethan's Adventure. So you can't really, you know, have too many tech cards. You can't really have like loads of Rare Candy and stuff. Like, if you have all this other things, like, you can't have like full Rare Candy and stuff like that. So it is a bit frustrating sometimes with this deck. Like, there is times where I'm like, oh, I'd love to try and build with 4 Rare Candy in this deck and, you know, go like all out aggressive, turn 2 Ethan's Typhlosion, whatever. But like, I don't think it's really like a viable option. Like, maybe if we had like a consistent way of finding petrol outside of just using Meowth, there is maybe an argument to do like a turbo build with like Brilliant Blender. So that would let you search your deck for 4 Ethans plus another card and discard them. So that could be an option for like a turbo build. But this build, for instance, is just keeping things quite simple. I think the other cards are pretty self-explanatory. Like, Team Rocket's Watchtower has been, I think, in pretty much all my post-rotation decks so far. So yeah, very good stadium card to use against Meowths. We've also got a Redeemable Ticket, however, which just means that if you've got any like important cards in your prizes, you can then just, you know, take them out and reshuffle and have a better chance at, you know, drawing them, which is kind of relevant sometimes because we don't actually play a lot of energy. So if we end up discarding some or losing some early on, then, you know, having a way to like get some out of the prizes can be quite useful, I found. So yeah, just something worth bearing in mind. The A-spec of choice is Hero's Cape, which is just a funny A-spec. You know, 330 HP, 2 prize Dragapult, which has one of the best attacks in the game. Yeah, that's very handy to have. You could also stick this on a Typhlosion though, and give it 270 HP, which is quite impressive. So if you're up against a deck which you know won't be able to do up to 270 damage, then you know they are two-shotting you, then you know that's also a really solid option. It would give you a bit of extra protection against stuff like Crustle, but I mean you should be defeating Crustle anyway. Like it's a grass type Pokemon that you can one-shot. But you know, like stuff like that is just worth bearing in mind. So yeah, you can actually Hero's Cape a Typhlosion. But yeah, this is not the deck that I would, if I sound a bit deflated in this video, this is not the deck originally I wanted to cover. Like, I did originally want to cover just a pure Typhlosion build, but I'm just struggling a little bit to make it work consistently and, like, work fast enough, basically, for Standard. Because it feels like by the time you actually get your Typhlosions running and online, your opponent is already, like, two prizes in, you know? So it's, yeah, it can feel a bit rough sometimes with Typhlosion without TM Evolution. But yeah, hopefully this this gives you some inspiration, I guess, if you're like a little bit bored of Dragapult or something and you want to try out a different build of it, however. So yeah, let me know what you think about this deck down below. And yeah, thank you for watching. So yeah, just seeing what my opponent is going to do here, but they do have an energy on Charmander, so it might be Rare Candy Mega Charizard time. Fingers crossed it's not, but it might be. Okay, so my opponent does whack me with a Judge. My fault for being greedy on the hand size, I guess, with searching for Ethans. But we do draw back into some fairly useful cards, actually. So we will be able to use double Drakloak and also evolve the active Cyndaquil, actually, if we wanted to. We didn't get an energy last turn because we did have to play Lilies instead of Ethans. But that is fine. Basically, all we really need to do this turn is try and knock out this Charmander, which shouldn't be too hard, but you never know with these sorts of decks. So I'm going to go ahead and use a Bonded by the Journey. And basically, I'm just going to thin out. I would like to find a Rare Candy if possible. But of course, you know, that's not always guaranteed with these sorts of decks. And we do only play 2 Rare Candy as well, so that's worth bearing in mind. I will go ahead and use Poffin just to thin an attacker out the deck. What I want to do here, probably another Dreepy actually. I think some Drakloak will be much appreciated in the turns to come. But yeah, I will use a Recon Directive. Okay, so not what I was really looking for there. We do have another one in hand, don't we? Yeah. So I'll probably just take the Ethans, so we can play one and then discard the other 2 if necessary. I'll then Recon Directive. Sadly, just Victini, so no energy whatsoever this turn to do much with. Sadly. But what we can do, however, is Ethans for an energy. And then just swing for 40, I guess, which at the very least will put us in a somewhat favorable position, I'm guessing. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world. I will go ahead and evolve one of these just in case he has another Judge. You know what? I'll do that. And then I'll do this. And then we can go ahead. I was going to use Ultra Ball Ethans, but I might actually want to track down a Typhlosion to evolve the active one next turn. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and use Combustion. So yeah, that should be okay for now. And this kind of gives my opponent 2 options. They could either try and chase down Typhlosion or chase down Dragapult. We would need to find a Psychic Energy if we want to attack with Dragapult, is the only thing. But we are very close to getting the full Ethans in the discard, which is good. I do also need to make sure there is Psychic Energy in deck. That is something I probably should have checked earlier, because it's quite easy, of course, to prize your Psychics. So yeah, bit of a concern. So we do need to be careful of that. My opponent will Fire Breather, so they will get plenty of energy. So in this kind of matchup, we probably do just want to focus on Typhlosion and not really be all that fussed over you know, Dragapult. Dragapult's still obviously a very good attacker, but it's not going to be as strong as Typhlosion, I don't think. So yeah, so here's the Rare Candy Zard. We lose a Quilava, but we have softened them up to 320 at least. Not that it'll make too much of a difference. I think even with a Bangle, we're still a bit short. Because yeah, we do 280. Okay, evolved the bench one, but I guess that makes sense because they need to Oricorio to it. But yeah, we do 280, and then it already got 40 on it. So okay, we're just gonna knock out this one anyway. That's fine. I mean, we could get a boss, I suppose. If we can get a boss, that would be great. We can Poké Pad, I guess. Yeah, we can absolutely Poké Pad. Get a Typhlosion out the deck. Evolve this Drakloak. So now we have triple board state. We don't need to use Bomb by the Journey because we already know that we have double Ethans. I don't think we'll need to play Ethans this turn for just another energy and one more Typhlosion, so I think we can just go ahead and discard them. Probably just go get a Dragapult, to be honest. We don't need to evolve it, is the only thing. We don't need to evolve it just yet. We will Recon Directive. I'll probably take the ticket, actually. I will take the ticket. I did also forget to make sure we had Psychic Energy in deck. That was also my fault. I don't think we need the Switch. So... Rare Candy? Although, actually, I think they might do some, like, shenanigans with switching, so... Switch is fine. I still would like a boss's orders, but I'm aware that I'm not playing very many, so... Yeah, fair enough. I'll take the Lilies. I think we already had a Sportive next turn, but that's fine. Yeah, don't need to evolve. I will go ahead and put an energy down on this guy. And then we can just go for the 280. So, I could have held off from evolving the active Typhlosion, actually, and just force them to knock out Quilava and save the Typhlosion for later, which is, you know, a sensible thing to do as well. We did get a Drakloak, not necessary right now. Yeah, finding some energy is going to be a big deal, I think. Because, yeah, Megazard is kind of annoying. So we want them to KO a Typhlosion, then they'll go down to 5 prizes. Then they KO, what, another Dragapult? And then 3 more Typhlosions, in theory. So we kind of want them to do all these back-to-back KOs. So they have plenty of energy in hand. We know that from Fire Breather. So they just need to find out Oricorio. And they have Fez as well, so... Yeah, it is a bit of a shame that we did not get anything of that. They chose not to use Fez, I think. I think they didn't use Fez. Interesting maneuver by my opponent. Maybe they don't have access to Oricorio, though. It would be nice to get Pult this turn, but we can't really guarantee getting the Pult, so I don't want to waste an energy on retreating if we don't get it. We do get a boss. 1 turn too late, sadly. We could boss Fez this turn. I'm not actually sure what we're really digging for here. I guess like just more energy. I'll take the Bangle. I don't think the math matters on this, but in theory, I would much appreciate another Cyndaquil, or a way to get Cyndaquil back. Speaking of, we get a Night Stretcher. So I think I will just Night Stretcher for a Cyndaquil here. Because these things are already doing 280 for the rest of the game anyway, so I don't think we need anything else. I mean, a Psychic Energy would be cool, though. And we do get one. That's good. So the question is, will they play more Judge? Probably. I think I'm just going to do this. Maybe it's the best option, maybe it's not. But I'm going to try this out. And then this way we get 2 prizes here. Now, a big brain move could have been to do 310 to this guy, and then boss something next turn, and knock it out with Dragapult. So that was also an option I could have done. Wasn't really thinking that far ahead, but that is definitely a play that could have been done. But it's okay. I think it's alright. My opponent does choose to promote Megazard, which is certainly a choice because Charmander does have free retreat, so you know, it's that rank on the ladder where you're not really sure what you're playing against, but yeah, I think that's going to cost him the game, unfortunately. Unfortunately for my opponent, that's going to cost them. So we didn't even have to use Dragapult this game, which I'm kind of happy about. You know, like I don't feel I need to use Dragapult every single game. But yeah, okay, I think we could just evolve here. That's fine. Yeah, they could boss it, but I mean, it's not the end of the world if they do. We will evolve here, actually. We'll just get Quilava down. At this point, we just have everything. Like, we just have everything we could ever need set up, so we can see 2 more cards each turn with Drakloaks. Like, we've got a single prizer that can do 310 damage. Yeah, very good spot. I don't think this is a bad rogue deck or anything. I do kind of wish it was a bit quicker. And because you have to play so many Pokemon and so many, like, Ethans and stuff, which is sort of a dead card, right? It is kind of frustrating that we don't have much else that's available to us. So my opponent will boss. I'm assuming they have, like, Energy Oricorio. Just one final hit in, that's fine. Let's do the final damage. I'll have to try Mega Charizard out, because I think it does look very fun. Just probably running into some issues with consistency. Okay, we do not need to do this, but it's funny. 420 HP, there we go. Right, Phantom Dive. I could have just used Jet Headbutt, actually. I don't know why I did Phantom Dive. You see, I don't know why TCG Live makes you put damage counters on bench Pokemon when it's literally the final KO. Like, I guess you would do this IRL anyway, but it just seems a bit wasteful, you know? Waste of everyone's time, but yeah, fair enough. But yeah, that'll be game.